What's good, YouTube? What is good? It's Davy V with you. Big shout out. Yo, what's good, Jonathan? My man Jonathan from The Rock, from the 585. First one to pop up on here. How you doing, my brother? Thank you for tuning in, as always. Random thought. I like doing these random thought videos. And, some of you may enjoy them. It's part of the channel, part of me trying to make the channel varied. What is good? Greece, New York, what up? What up, Greece? Much love for Greece. I just shouted out the good people of Greece a couple of days ago on the live. Raleigh, North Carolina, checking in. What's good, my man Robert? My man Robert was going to be my campaign manager at one point. I don't know if he remembers. We're going to get the signs printed up and everything. That's an inside joke. I don't know if Robert remembers. Robert told me to run for mayor. How would that sound? Davy V, Rochester, New York mayor. I would clean house from top to fucking bottom. Robert says, of course. Of course he remembers. I'll tell you what. Let me roll this window down because it's hot as hell in here. I would clean house in the city from top to bottom. Random thought. Some of you may, by the way, this video, disclaimer, this video will probably make me sound like the oldest, most square, old fogey dude that you guys and girls may have seen in a while. I understand that. When you put yourself on a platform like I have, when you put yourself out there for ridicule, for threats, for harassment, you know what I mean? You also put yourself out there, you open yourself up, you know what I mean? And this is something I want to do with the channel. Just make it a little bit more varied, a little bit more, different content. So I like these random thought videos. And why do I call them random thought? Well, because they happen randomly. Here's what happened, and I want to share this with y'all. And I don't know, maybe some of you, all of you, whatever, maybe you could relate, take a little bit of this. Maybe you yourself. Part about this channel is, connecting with each of you. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I always say for taking your time. Your time. This is your time right now that you're watching this this big talking head here. So maybe you can take a little bit from this. The random thought I got a few minutes ago is that I'm in Henrietta, New York, and I went to pump gas at a fast track. Gas station here in Henrietta, New York. And I walked in to pay for the gas because I was paying cash. And a young woman, there were two young women there, young female employees. And basically, they were talking about, did you see Cardi B? And just giggling and laughing. And look, again, I'm not trying to sound square or whatever. I grew up on real hip hop. Let me say it again. Real hip hop. Let me say it again. Real hip hop. Rakim, Public Enemy. You know what I mean? Just to name two. Naughty by Nature, my man Tretch. East Orange, New Jersey, Double I. Illtown. But I gotta be honest, I know Cardi B is super talented, Latina rapper from the Bronx, I believe. I know she's from New York area. I believe it's from the Bronx. So, this is not about bashing anyone. I'm not a fan of today's hip hop. That's just me. I'm old school. The first song I ever heard, I literally grew up with real hip hop. The first song I ever heard was Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang. I believe it was 78, 77, late 70s, and I was hooked. I'll never forget the first time I heard that song. I was in Miami, Florida. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I was absolutely just hooked from that point on, from that moment. So I'm not trying to offend no one. I understand Cardi B is very talented. But here's what happened, and this is my random thought. Maybe some of you could relate to this. So I go in there. They're basically not even paying attention to me when I'm asking for, asking to pay for some gas, right? It's a gas station. It's a convenience store, obviously. And they're so into their conversation and giggling and laughing and totally just clueless of the fact that there's a paying customer in front of them. And they're talking about Cardi B. And I suspect it may be I think there was some awards show last night or recently, or maybe it's something else, or maybe the award show hasn't happened yet. I don't listen to the award show. I mean, I don't tune into the awards shit anymore. Like I said, I could care less about it. If Rakim opens up the awards, then I'll tune in. You know what I mean? Or Public Enemy. Real hip hop, real groups, real lyricists, I should say. But here's the thing. And by the way, not to leave out Eric B., one of the best DJs ever. Rakim's right-hand man. So they were giggling, and then finally they realized that there was a paying customer in front of them, and they took my money, gave me my change, and then the last thing I heard as I walked out was, yeah, and did you see Offset? So Offset is also a successful rapper who is married to Cardi B. I know that much. And again, it's not to knock anyone, I understand that these individuals are talented. They're not my cup of tea. That's just me. Again, I don't consider them to represent real hip hop. But to each their own, right? But where I'm going with this is this, and again, I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade or say that people should be super serious. By all means, people should communicate. That's good to see people get along, co-workers, and laugh and giggle and stuff. But here's what just popped in my mind. And again, this is a random thought video, so I'm sharing it with you guys and girls, right? Many times, these are the same individuals who are so into the entertainment industry and so into that trap of falling for the corporate America, these artists who many times these artists are fake as fuck. Many times these artists are basically put out there and controlled by the record company executives who are pulling the strings behind the scenes. And we'll save that for another video. But what dawned on me and what hit me was, this is literally, and this is where, hold on. What's good, Ed? Lurking from Punta Gorda, Florida. Thank you, my man, for tuning in. Punta Gorda, Florida. Beautiful Florida. So here's where I'm going with this. Many times, and again, I don't want to sound ignorant here and stereotype everybody, okay? But many times, these young folks, in this case, these young women, know more about the entertainment industry and about the so-called real reality TV and celebrities, and then they know about what the fuck is going on in the country. Then they know about their rights when they're pulled over by a cop. Their right to not consent to searches. Their right, Fourth Amendment. Their right to record, right? Simple stuff, simple things, simple, obvious things like writing down the cop's name, a badge number, the day and time you were pulled over, the location, a cruiser number, any description on the officer. In other words, and I don't want to ramble on here too much. My point is this. Let me just say what I feel. It's all good to love entertainment. It's all good to love music. I love music. I love the arts. There's a lot of stuff. But as a father of 3 children, and maybe it's because I'm getting older, and as you get older, you're supposed to mature, right? You're supposed to kind of wisen up, right? And get a little wiser and a little bit more deep, right? I mean, at least that's how I'm feeling. And you start to look at life a different way. You start to look at things differently. And as I stood there waiting for them to basically be done talking about some multi-million, millionaires, celebrities, okay, to the point where they basically didn't realize that I'm there, fucking standing at the counter with no one else behind me or in front of me, with a $20 bill in my hand, trying to get $10 on a pump. It just dawned on me that these same young folks are the same ones that are going to basically run this country. They are literally the next generation. And again, I'm not trying to sound here old fogey like, come on, Davy, you know. Again, this is a random thought. You don't have to agree with it. Hold on. And I took, yeah, agree. Not only young, oh man, it went off so quick. If you could send that again anyway, copy paste it. But I screenshot it, so I'm gonna look at it. Somebody that was agreeing with me, I appreciate it. I took a screenshot because the messages go off so quick. I apologize. So again, not to ramble here, not to get, you know, on a high horse. I was young too, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be a party pooper or whatever, or be like everybody's supposed to be stoic and so serious and yes, may I help you, and, you know, take the money. We need to find a way to get them interested and excited about expanding their, absolutely, and knowing their rights and expanding their knowledge, I believe. I missed that, one of those last words. Absolutely. Very well said. Better than me in many ways. You said it. And maybe that's it. How do we find that way? And again, I'm not trying to be negative about these young people, but it just dawned on me that this is literally the next generation. This is the next generation, and what seems to be on their mind, okay? And it's hard for me to say that, okay? Because I was just in there a couple minutes. So, okay, maybe it's a little bit of a stretch. You know, maybe you guys will be like, come on, Davey, it's a little bit of a stretch to say that what's on their mind. But I know what I saw, and I saw a snapshot of their workday. And I saw enough to know that they were basically, short of ignoring me, you could say, a paying customer at a business. It's a business. They're not home. They're not, you know, congregating in their living room. And I don't know, it just hit me like, and again, maybe I'm just getting older and a little bit wiser or whatever. I'm not trying to be grumpy. But it just, because here's the thing. I cannot tell you how many calls I get, how many messages, I'm sorry, not calls. I don't get my number out. How many messages I get, how many emails, how many messages on social media. These are the same folks that have no fucking idea about their rights. Literally. These are individuals who are totally clueless to their rights. Whether they're pulled over by a police officer, you know, whether they're videotaping or taking a photograph of a building and some, you know, overworked, underpaid, out of shape security guard comes out and tells them to move it along, and they basically put their tails between their legs and oblige, you know, and move without knowing that it's their right. It's their constitutionally protected First Amendment right to record. So maybe that's why it bothers me. It bothers me so much because there are so many folks, and I'm talking here mostly young folks, who are absolutely clueless about their rights. But yet ask them what song fucking Cardi B sang, okay, after the second commercial break of the fucking awards, and they will tell you like that. Or ask them how much money Kim Kardashian made when her latest perfume sold out in 5 minutes, which I talked about in other videos. An individual, Kardashian, individual who's famous for being famous. What do I mean by that? There's no substance there. You know, there's no real talent. You know what I mean? There's no real, dedication to any art form like dance, theater, right? Both acting in theater or acting on the screen. And cheers, what's good? Real Chingy. You know, but this is a society that we live in nowadays. And I'll tell you what it comes down to. Like I said, if I were to ask any of them young ladies, do you know what your rights are when pulled over by a police officer? Do you know that you have a right to record each and every interaction with a law enforcement officer? Do you know that you have a right to not consent to searches? What is good? Cynthia, hello. Thank you for tuning in. If I were to ask, or you were to ask those young women, I'd be willing to bet that they would not know. And I hate to say it, but I would be willing to bet on that. Dollars to donuts that they wouldn't have a fucking clue. But ask them again about Kim Kardashian or Cardi B or her husband Offset, and they will tell you like that. So, I'll tell you what it all comes down to. It all comes down to distraction. Everyone, but especially the youth, are being molded. You've heard about the cigarette ads, right? How basically cigarette companies, and no offense to anyone that smokes, okay? Personally, I believe it's a nasty habit, and you know, I don't smoke, but much respect, you know what I mean? I'm not mad at you. You do what you want. But you've heard about how these corporate America companies literally mold. Because think about it, as one generation dies off, as one generation gets older and one generation dies off, they need to basically control the next generation. They need to control that new generation, and they need to hook them. It's about hooking them. It's all about hooking them. And as all the real shit is happening in this world and the division in this country, I'm not going to step too much into the politics, okay? I don't want to offend no one and take this video in a different direction. But as this country is more divided than ever, okay? As we are seeing the ironies where the First Lady, Melania Trump, claims to be against bullying, but her husband is one of the biggest cyber bullies ever, who has made fun of disabled people, plus has offended everyone from the LGBT community to, to good folks like LeBron James, who has done so much, to help others, like the school he opened in his hometown of Akron, Ohio. But again, we're not going to touch that in this video. But I'm just trying to prove a point. All these things, including these celebrities who are in many ways made by these record executives, it's all a big distraction. I wanted to sum it up in a way just to, boom, wrap it all up. And that's how I would sum it up and wrap it up. A big distraction. For me to go to this fast track and stand there while these two females, young female employees, were completely clueless that there was a paying customer in front of them, and they're laughing and giggling like elementary school children, talking about Cardi B and her husband Offset. I just couldn't, and again, I'm not trying to be old fogey here, I just couldn't help but realize this is the next generation. Right there. That is a snapshot of the next generation. That's my random thought. It just hit me like, I doubt that these young women know their rights as American citizens. Know what to do when pulled over by police. Know about their constitutional rights. Know about the First Amendment right to record. But bet your ass they know every single song that Cardi B has put out. They will respond. They will respond like that. All right. I'll catch y'all in the next live. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.